All right, let's see what happens. What do we want to talk about today? I don't know. I feel like there's something about letting go. Yesterday I made a video about perfectionism and how it is the limiter of creativity. And I really do believe that. But there's other things to be letting go of. Well, one, for example, going back to perfection, it's like, I think I made an example of like, if I were to make a YouTube video every single day, they're not all gonna be winners. Heck, maybe this one's not even a winner. But I think you get so concerned with the quality in which you put out that it limits you. So there's letting go in that. Today is the full moon. And full moons are about release. What are we releasing? What are we letting go of? So, like I said, yesterday I talked about perfectionism. Letting yourself be more creative, calling that energy back to you, because judging yourself or feeling that other people will be judging you, it's like you're losing that energy. But there's also this sense of, if you believe in manifestation, it's like where you put your energy, where your thoughts go, your energy flows, I think is the term, is the phrase, is the saying. And it's like, if you put your energy to everybody's going to constantly judge you, well, guess what's going to happen? They probably are. But letting go of that attachment, ooh, that's good. I like to drink my coffee with a spoon. It goes slower. But anyway. Letting go of attachment to things, attachment. That's the word that feels right now. It's like a couple things are coming through, and it's this idea of, where your thoughts go, your energy flows. But also following, if you look up anything about the quantum mechanics, quantum physics, the quantum, it's like what you think about, you're manifesting. But also it's like when you have a large majority of people's energy going towards something, you're calling it into being. If you follow anything political, and you're heated about it, and you and a huge group of people are also heated, or vice versa, I don't want to say you're pro, but like, it's like in some ways, in a lot of ways, in all ways, you and the group, the collective, are manifesting these things into being. And it's learning how to have non-attachment. So, today, I wanted to talk about letting go in other ways. Other ways such as, yesterday, how did this start? I am learning how to be more decisive. I feel like I use the example of a maple syrup tree, A maple syrup tree, you've heard it here. This is Pennsylvania, we know trees. From a maple tree. And I get the image of like taps, and which taps are open. Where is your sap, your maple water leaking out? And it's like, which ones are you able to close off? And yesterday I realized that indecision is somewhere where my maple syrup water is just leaking out. that I wait for people to make the decisions for me, or I get to the point where it's literally last minute and then I'm sending that email or doing the thing that I've been thinking about for about 3 months now. But it gets to the point where maybe it hasn't gotten any better or worse. I think of yesterday, I had a couple of examples because I think yesterday was a day of purging. I feel story time. I feel like I have had such a big shift in the last week, and I'm super excited for it. I feel this flow of energy through me, this flow of creativity, but with this high vibe energy, a lot of shit is getting knocked loose. I may have said it in one of my other videos, is this sense of when you are just coming online, when you're just starting to get into the flow of this, I'll call it high energy, this higher vibration. You're a magnet for all of these high vibrational things. Well, just like a gutter, it's not sometimes, when you go to clean them out in the spring, the first couple of flushes are going to be nothing but dead leaves and debris. And it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't, it kind of feels terrible, and it makes you second guess whether or not I want to do this because, well, it's not pretty, it's not concise, it's not what I wanted to put out there. I don't want to put out a bunch of dead, decaying leaves. That sounds terrible. But so I say all that because now that all of this creativity is starting to flow through me and I'm starting to be more in touch with that, a lot of debris is coming up. And I say it in the most loving way because it's stuff that I kept around for a reason, for safety, for security. You don't realize how many things, you have yourself wrapped in order to feel safe and secure. And how many identities, how many people in your life, even if, so I say people because I recently, yesterday, started to feel the nag, if you will. I felt it for a while, but it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain when you have people in your life, and I'm using this as the example, but when you have people in your life that are just loving, caring, want to know everything about you, all this other stuff, but yet you're not feeling that energetic vibe anymore. But how do you let go of people that are just, have been in your life for so long and that still love and care about you, especially in a time where I feel I'm devoid of that, where I don't have the interactions, the connections that maybe at one point I did, I did with these people. And now here I am, I'll call it in a hard up spot, where you're just like, yeah, I could use all the people that I can get right now, but there's still something lingering there. Do you have to let it linger? I love this cup. I love all my cups. Anyway, connections, debris. But it's this sense that it's an energetic suck. We're going back to the maple syrup trees I was talking about, but it's like this energetic suck. All of this energy is being wasted on delaying the inevitable or trying to figure it out. Why do I feel this energy towards people who absolutely love me? And my other example yesterday was a job. I applied for something that on paper and kind of in real life too felt like something I'd want to attempt or play with. But yet, after I got accepted, today was supposed to be my first day of training, there's something that did not sit right. And I'm like, oh, that's just my ego, like I'm trying to push through it because I'm trying to logic it. I'm trying to make sense of it because on paper, again, I don't know if anybody uses paper still. I do, actually. I'm lying. Digital on analog. It makes no sense. I, should want this job. Haven't had one in a while. And it'd be nice to have that stability and security underneath me to lean upon. But yet, there is an energy there. And yes, I could have pushed through. And there's a part of me that's saying, well, what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? Well, what if I'm wrong? Maybe I am. Maybe it is my ego. Maybe it's, whatever it happens to be. I don't know. But it's like, I feel like I'm in a time right now where things are shifting and I want to pay attention. And if something doesn't feel quite right, maybe it's not meant for me. And if it is my ego, it's going to be a pattern, just like everything else in my life, that I start to figure out. And I start to get, and I go, you sneaky little rascal, you, I got you. But I don't believe so. I believe I'm becoming more energy sensitive as I'm letting things go in my life, as I'm welcoming other things in my life. 11:11 on my timer. New beginnings. MF. So, what? Who knew? You can't have an alarm go off on your phone and record a video at the same time. So what does this all mean? I don't actually remember what we were talking about because I have that flighty, one-track mind. It's like act now or forever hold your peace. Forever hold your thoughts because they're gone. But either way, words. I don't know. I don't know what we were talking about, but it's exciting. It's exciting to start to release some of the things that no longer serve. It's kind of painful. I made an analogy last night as I was, figuring this out within myself. I love figuring out patterns. It's like puzzles. If I ever start, I was going to say, if I ever start a business, I'm going to name it Puzzles. And then I thought of How I Met Your Mother, if any of you have seen that show. And he's like, I think I'm going to open a bar and name it Puzzles. And then everybody's going to come in and be like, why puzzles? So anyway, puzzles. Puzzles. I've already forgot what I was going to say. It gets worse too. I don't know. I feel like I was always very logical and sharp. And as I've let a lot of that go, it's funny how all that comes to me are like these wisps of intuition, but they're not like tangible thoughts that I can just grapple onto. Yes, I said grapple. But it's gone. What is going on? I love it. So letting things go that no longer serve. And yeah, I remember what it was going to be. It's like, what are the things now? I get the image of like a Band-Aid or what's the phrase, the saying, like sticking your finger in the dike. Well, I think that one needs to be retired. Or maybe not, some people might actually love that expression. Sticking your finger in the dam. We'll go with that. We'll go with the dam. But it's like once you remove it, you start to see, what holes there are to fill. I get the image of a Band-Aid, and it's like you can keep putting Band-Aids on. You can keep using these things to regulate your nervous system, keeping people around. For me, for example, take it as it resonates for you, but it's like, what are the things in your life that I don't even want to call them vices in the sense like, you smoke and you binge watch, Netflix, or you are on your YouTube. Thanks, by the way, if you're watching this. No, but you're using these things as a distraction technique. I'm also talking about other things that maybe are more subtle. Like, well, of course, everybody needs people in their life, but if you're keeping them around for the wrong reasons, or doing that job that you absolutely hate, but you oh, I need it. I need to, whatever it is. You're wrapping yourself up in an identity, or you're wrapping yourself up in relationships so that you don't feel whatever's underneath it. And when you remove those band-aids, you get to actually see the wounds that are underneath. And they can be uncomfortable, because once I said no to the position last night, job that is, position job. And once then I was like, you know what? Here we are, full moon, let's release. So once I texted some friends and actually left them video messages and stuff like that and talked back and forth a little bit, you know, you start to feel the things that you felt you didn't want to feel previously. You know, the reason why you've kept these, you know, people around, or these different vices in your life, or, you know, it's like you get to actually feel the pain, feel the loneliness, feel the sadness, feel the things, feel the shame, feel the guilt. You know, who am I to let go of such lovely people? Who am I to pass up an opportunity such as that job? Who am I to, you know, you get to feel all of these uncomfortable emotions. And you can go ahead and ignore them, or you can sit with them and let them come up. And I get the story of, it's my story, sitting on my feet, so I look taller. I get this story of when I first went to Mexico, and I had never been out of the country before. I have been out of the time zone, but again, it's like this sense of, I'll call it calculated risks. And I had no idea what I was going to get into in Mexico. I didn't even know Spanish. But it's like, you know that feeling when, if you have stage fright, for example, that fear that builds up in your stomach and it feels so uncomfortable. So that's why you don't go out and sing in front of people, or that's why you don't go out on open mic night and read your poetry or anything like that. You stay in your tiny little box because fear feels so uncomfortable, and you don't have to make yourself do it. And not that I had to make myself go to Mexico, but once I committed to it, and I woke up that morning before I left and I was feverish and having body pains, and I felt like I was gonna vomit all day and just severe stomach pains. And I was just like, well, you know, like I'll just sleep on the plane, you know, but maybe I should cancel. What if I have the flu? And it was all going through my mind, but I was already on my way down. I just, you know what, I'm just doing this. I'm not gonna cancel now. I get on the plane and it got worse. I mean, I was chills and, you know, then feverish and, you know, sweating, and just, I felt terrible. And it was a 6-hour flight to Phoenix. And then when I got off the plane in Phoenix, I felt amazing. And the next day I woke up and I was like, oh, because I had to sleep. That's another story. Anyway, had to sleep over. Mother F. Okay. But what I'm getting at is, you have all of this fear, anxiety, shame, guilt, name them all, locked away in these boxes, and you don't want to disturb them, because what if some of that gets out, you know? So you don't do those things to make you feel uncomfortable. You don't do those things to make you feel fear. You know, you stay well within your lane of control, calculated risks, and I want to present as, you know, somebody who's super capable and super smart and super whatever it happens to be. So you never touch those boxes, and you don't have to. But when I got on that plane, it was like somebody ripped open the top of all those boxes and just dumped the contents out. And it was just a purge. I was purging all of those, just those little inklings of like, ooh, no, that feels uncomfortable. I'm not gonna go get up on stage. I'm not gonna, but it's like somebody dumped all that shit out, and because you can't get off the plane now. So why was I saying this? Because of the relationships for me, for example, but the things that you keep around in your life that feel more comfortable, or you don't do the things that make you just a little bit uncomfortable because nobody wants to be uncomfortable. And I totally get it. Totally get it. But last night when I did that, when I said no to this position, when I said no to a few friends, beautiful, wonderful souls, but when I said, I'm sorry, but I'm just not, haven't been feeling the vibe, I ripped the tops off of some of those boxes, and the shame and the guilt and the what's wrong with me? What if you're wrong and now you just did this? And what if you hurt these people? Or what if, this job, what if you change your mind about the job and now they don't want to take you back because you're a flake? Or whatever it happens to be. And it's like I ripped the top off some of those boxes and emptied the contents. But instead of me trying to frantically rebox it, I let it sit there. Because you're not going to know what you've been masking until you sit there and actually go through the contents. Womp, womp, womp. So anyway, I think this is a pretty good stopping place. Yeah. It's a lovely, lovely day out. It's rainy and shitty, and this is March for you though. Up here, it's like you get through the coldest cold, and then you get like little bits of hope and rays of sunshine, and then they take it away from you. So we have another week of rain, freezing rain, just kind of feeling cold to the bone, sitting in front of the wood stove for another week, and connecting more with myself. Because as much as this time is about unveiling things within you, it's like I'm still getting the sense of like, it's not time to start running. Put your shoes on. Get the clothes on. I don't know why you're just sitting at 11:11 again. But it's not time. It's not time. You're still warming up. So we're walking. So either way, this is gonna be a wrap from me. I'm committing. I'm committing to myself because this is something that I feel that is inside of me. But like I said with the gutters, it's like when you start going again, there's so much resistance. There's so much resistance because you don't know what's gonna come out. You don't know how it's going to be judged, and you don't know if people are going to like it. But you got to trust. You got to trust that this is what you've been called to. And maybe who the F knows? Maybe in a year again, or 2 years, or 5 years, or 10 years, you go, what did I get myself? Why did I do? But you're not going to know unless you try. You got to, 12. You got to rip the tops off some of these boxes because they're going to be uncomfortable. And they're going to be cringeworthy, but you're going to learn so much about yourself. I get the idea of, I know I'm rambling again. This should be like story hour with Ashley. Everybody gather around. But it's like, I was just talking to my little sister last night, and I love baking sourdough. 1, 2, 3, 4. I love baking sourdough. And so I pretty much have bestowed this upon my sisters. I got 3 other sisters, and everybody has a starter, and last night my little sister talked to me, and she was like, I baked her first boulé, and them circle loaves, and and so, but I was just like, bake 100 of them and you're gonna learn so many different things from it. I said, bake them side by side, bake 3 at a time, you're gonna learn so much. You're gonna learn to do the same recipe 100 times, and guess what? You're gonna learn so much. But if you don't do it because, you're never gonna learn. And so the same thing, it's like, you get to learn so much about yourself by putting yourself out there, by living your life, I'm looking at one of my paintings. I just started painting. And boy, oh boy, if you want to feel resistance in your body, start painting. And but you get to learn from it, and you get to grow, and you get to remove those band-aids and see why you haven't painted before, because of all the stories and all of the, all of your own narratives of like how terrible it looks. And I painted a rooster. Isn't he awesome? But yesterday I would have told you, I'm gonna just burn this thing. Charlie. I'm gonna call him Charlie. So me and Charlie are gonna be signing out. Thanks, Charlie. I agree. Estoy de acuerdo. All right, adios, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See yous.